As legal investment or tax advice. You should always consult the appropriate advisor before making any financial decision.
The following program is sponsored by the Now Academy.
I said I'm gonna lay it right on the line. A dollar bill is a friend of mine. We need money. We need money. Talking about money, money, money. Hey, credit.
Money 2.0 presents In the Now, the premier show for entrepreneurs, business owners, and business leaders. With marketing experts Brandon Hintz and Mike Driggers. Get ready to unleash and launch because they're going to blow your mind. Now, here are Brandon Hintz and Mike Driggers on Money 105.5.
In the Now.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Depending on when you're listening to this broadcast. How you doing?
I'm good. I guess this is where we start, right? Here we go.
Here we go.
So this morning, this radio topic is going to be completely on communication. How you communicate. What are you doing in your business? How are you communicating in your life with your partners? Communication is huge. Words become. What we have right now, and I see this a lot in businesses where I'll step in there and say, well, how's that department working? And they'll say, well, it seems to be okay, but we're having all these problems in this area and this area. We'll have you sat down and discussed it with them. Well, no, we're trying to find a solution first.
What do you do?
What is that?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Why aren't you going in there and saying, hey, what can I do to help you? When I was a sales manager, I would literally come over to your desk and just say, how can I help you today? And they would look at me like, oh, I'm okay. No, seriously. If you want to hit a goal today, how can I help you? Because people used to ask me, like, what do you do for management? I'd say, I babysit, right?
Right.
Or I'd say, I'm a leader. I remove obstacles. But how do you remove an obstacle if you think you're looking at it from an outside perspective? You've got to find out what these people want.
Right.
When we look at marketing, the number one thing that we say is ask your clients what they want and give it to them.
Sure.
So communication with your employees should be absolutely no different. There's a client that I went into just last month where they had a problem with one of their managers. Mm-hmm. And when the morning would walk in, they'd walk in with their coffee and they'd be like, oh, hi, manager. And they would just walk by his office and like run to the door hoping that he didn't ask any questions. And the first thing I said is, before we go any further, I want to set a meeting up with all three of us.
Sure.
So I want you, your chief officer, and their manager in a meeting Monday morning. And we asked the gentleman what he wanted. He said, all I want to know is that I'm secure in my job and they're going to back me up.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people are hoping, right?
Yeah.
That they want to know that there's that security.
But here this manager is just avoiding the topic.
Sure.
Whatever the thing is you're afraid of is what you should get out there right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you run a small store and you walk in every morning, one of your employees is unhappy, then you need to approach him and say, hey, what can I do to help you? How can we communicate to get you where you need to be?
Sure.
If your business is suffering and you come in every morning and you avoid topics with people because you don't want to discuss them, they're more worried about whether their job is secure or not. It'd be better if you get teams that'll walk through walls for you. I've been to some businesses where the communication is so good, the people would stay without a paycheck.
Yeah.
They would work for you because they trust you and they know the goal you're going after because you communicated
The
it.
end result. And I think that's, in today's age, really critical, right? There's this illusion or perception about millennials and the communication between them from businesses to employees or even entrepreneurs, but there's been no generation that has had as much publicly revealed or praised or misunderstood than this millennial generation, right? And these are our future leaders, and so I think a lot of folks don't know how to communicate to that level. And fortunately, we have a great guest that's going to be coming up here soon.
Jane Tanner,
founder
of Janisa Leadership Institute, where she empowers young professionals to actually actualize their full potential.
Yeah.
Which means these young professionals are these millennials that we're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the key that we see in the market right now is communication.
Well, and in communication, there's the thing is that majority of the time we instantly go to the negative as humans, right? If somebody, your kids don't call you at the time they said, you start wondering what's going on. And then, an hour goes by and they still haven't called you. Now you get into this worry mode and so on. But even in the workforce, there's this, when you have the lack of communication, then it leaves it up to the individual to start making that decision, right, of what's going on. And because we go to the negative first, they create this environment that causes havoc, right? Because they're thinking about, oh my God, and when in reality the battery died on the phone for the kid and he was trying to find a charger, but the mom or dad or whatever goes off on a tangent. So I think that it's important for communication so that there's a clear there's a clear level of playing field for everybody to understand where we're at. And even in that, I may be talking to you right now about taco and you hear burrito. So there's also that challenge in communication.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. I mean, there's been times where I'm going so fast in a certain realm in a meeting where people are listening to the key points, but the miscommunication is not there.
Sure.
So the way it's being communicated is not being responded. So in all reality, the communication is the responsibility of the communicator. So when you're involved in a conversation, it's your responsibility to make sure that the other half understands the point that you're making.
Yeah.
It's not the other person's. There's been so many times where you're in an argument with someone, you're like, you just don't understand what I'm saying. Well, guess who's to blame?
The person that's not understanding.
The person that's not understanding. And you have to step back and say things like, if you realize when we were first growing up, admitting your faults was a no-no.
Yeah.
Your parents, your dad would have never came to you and said, son, I'm so sorry. I was completely wrong. And what I was trying to say was this. But that's the reality we live in. So like even in Jane's foundation where she's looking at this leadership institute and she's working with these millennials and she's going to be discussing with that on today's show, there has to come a point where you communicate with them on a level that the two of you can bridge that gap.
Yeah, one of the techniques that I typically do, because I understand the importance of communication, and like I said, it's so easy to misunderstand or not get to the real point, right, as far as the communication. And so one of the things I typically do is I'll repeat back. So let me repeat back what I thought I just heard you say, Brandon.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'll go through, and every single time I catch something new. Yeah. Every time. And so, I think, one of the things that spending time with your employees even business partners or anybody that you're associated with in work and what you're doing, having that communication downtime is critical to growing a business.
Absolutely. It's critical in growing everything. And while we're on that point, I wanted to say, to my wife, Veronica, 100%, I apologize for every time the communication that I was trying to bring across didn't come out the right way. Because in all of our relationships, we have this problem where we mean one thing. Like you said, the mindset goes one way, and I say one thing, and I more power to you, babe. I love you for pointing out the fact that better communication equals better life. And that is the truth in everything. And us as a man, I have to work on this. And I have to work on this in business, with my employees, with my relationships, with my business partners, my co-host on the radio. We have to have a clear line of communication so that we all understand what we're stepping into. Yeah. What we're going forward with, how our goals are orientated. So, honey, thank you for always being there. Thank you for always pointing that out to me, and I'm doing the best I can, and I'm going to get better every time I move.
Yeah, hopefully she's listening to the show.
Exactly. If not, I'll send her the recording tonight. Like, hey, you should hear what I sent to you today. But for that, I love my wife because she clearly stops me for a moment and says, I just need to understand what's going on. Awesome. So when we come back, we'll have Jane Towner, the founder of Janissa Leadership Institute.
Your guest is on the line.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or how about the one that says, mindset is everything? I truly believe both these statements. If you're looking to grow in your life or your business, then something's got to change. Stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Hi, I'm Brandon Hintz, and I've helped thousands of my clients do just that. Stop being controlled by limiting beliefs and patterns that don't suit you anymore. Join me at askbrandonforfree.com. That's askbrandonforfree.com.
Every year, a few stocks dominate all the others. I'm not talking about stocks that go up 50% or even 100%. We're talking about stocks like Notice Global, which climbed more than 4,800% in a single year. Identifying these massive winners can have a more dramatic effect on your portfolio than almost anything else you can do. That's why we're inviting you to our Emergency Summit, the 2018 Trade of the Year. It's free to attend, and two of the top stock pickers in the world, Dr. Mark Skousen and Jim Woods, will be announcing their number one play for 2018, and they guarantee 1,000% outperformance of the market with their pick. Join us at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on January 11th for this amazing opportunity. Log on now at the2018tradeoftheyear.com to sign up for the free Emergency Summit. You must sign up now at the2018tradeoftheyear.com. Once again, receive the number one pick of the year by registering for our free summit at the2018tradeoftheyear.com.
The number one show for entrepreneurs. This is In the Now, part of the Money 2.0 series on Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5 app.
Welcome back, everybody, to In the Now with Brandon Hintz and Mike Drigger.
Well, we have been talking about communication. Can you hear me?
Of course I can.
Yes.
Can you hear what I say? Right? So communication's critical.
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, I missed that. I'm sorry. Did you
Let me
say?
repeat back what you just said.
Okay. So today, on today's show, we've been talking about communication, the importance of it for business, and especially, with this perception about the millennial gap. And we have a really special person that's going to be sharing. She's a fabulous young woman, Jane Tanner. She's the founder of Janessa Leadership Institute, and she has a passion for empowering young professionals and help them actualize their full potential and help become visionary leaders. And Jane, in her past experience and background, between marketing, managing, and mentoring sales teams, as well as designing and deliver training programs for companies such as Merrick Group, Target, Gap, stores, things, companies like that. She's had a coaching program since 2007, and she really, she's got an upcoming book called Mentorship on the Go, and I love that because you and I, Brandon, are always talking about the importance of mentorship. But this book is a leadership guide for millennials who value passion, purpose, and prosperity in their lives and in their work, right? And so today's topic has been about the looming leadership gap and communication, and how millennials will be called to meet this challenge because they're our future leaders. And so I want to welcome to the show Jane Tanner. Jane, I heard you out there, but go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Brandon. Thank you so much for welcoming me on your show. I heard a little bit of your prior conversation, and communication is really a key component, especially when it comes to discussion about millennials.
Yeah, especially in today's world, there's, again, I said earlier, I don't know if you were on there, but, this is the one generation that's been praised and publicly revealed and misunderstood and analyzed beyond all generations out there. Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, it's, the millennials are the largest generation to ever, be born. I mean, they outnumber baby boomers. I think they're in the 70 million range at this point. So, millennials are going to be a huge force, not just within the workforce, but also as consumers.
Absolutely. In our Design It course, we teach a section about, the old apprentice. Mm-hmm. When you were younger, and we were all younger, so like in one of your statements here about the misunderstanding between the generations and the soft skills, you used to have to go through apprentice programs to become who you wanted to be. If you wanted to be a coach, you mentored under somebody for a certain time. If you were a lawyer, you did this. If you were doing this doctorate, you went to these mentorship programs. The apprentice piece is gone. We don't have that anymore.
Well,
you get your education, they throw you out into the field.
That's right. And that's actually what sort of motivated me to write the book that I'm writing, is because, I've been coaching executives in the Bay Area for a number of years, and I started to hear a lot of complaints about the younger generation being prepared to step into these positions that they were trying to fill. And on the other hand, I was hearing from millennials that they were being forced to work for these free internships. They weren't learning very much on these internships because they were very low-level jobs. So on one hand, we have eliminated, unfortunately, most millennials came of age during the largest downturn in the economy since the Great Depression. So entering the workforce and coming out of college or coming out of high school during 2008 to 2010, millennials were really between a rock and a hard spot. There were no more entry-level professional positions. Those positions had dried up. And if they wanted to gain valuable professional experience, they had to take these unpaid internships. So many of them ended up moving home.
So what do you think the two huge problems, like I know there are a couple, but what would be the two main that businesses in America are facing with this younger generation?
Well, in doing some research, I noticed this gap, and I started interviewing companies and talking to my coaching clients. And what surfaced was pretty interesting. What companies are really looking for is kind of what education has stopped providing, which is a liberal arts background. And because, especially in California, due to budget cuts, many of the classes that we used to offer our high school students and extracurricular programs that taught them communication, teamwork, and leadership skills were eliminated. So companies are really complaining that millennials don't know how to collaborate. They don't know how to build relationships. They don't know how to take risks. They don't know how to work well in teams. And, of course, they struggle with face-to-face communication. And, also another criticism is that they don't know how to think critically. Now, I don't agree with all of those perceptions, but that is the perception of a lot of executives that are looking to hire young people.
And so this ripple effect, because of what they did with the budget cuts or whatever, is put the folks into the lack of knowledge that they need to be in the workforce. What are some things that they can do, today to help, make the organization successful? What are, some things, how are they have to be going somewhere because they must be frustrated.
Well, I think there's a lot of frustration out there, and I think they do feel kind of misunderstood. I think that many millennials would welcome and embrace mentorship. However, what they have done is, of course, they're technologically savvy and very connected and engaged technologically, unlike any other previous generation. And so much of their socializing and work life tends to take place online. I think mentorship within organizations should be offered to young people, but not necessarily just to teach them the nuts and bolts of the job, because what baby boomers and to a certain extent Generation X took for granted were these interpersonal skills, because we did not grow up in the digital age. So the personal skills that millennials have not had a lot of opportunity to practice in a professional setting is really where companies would be wise to start reinvesting some training dollars, set aside some budget dollars for those millennials that are new in the workforce.
Yeah, and a lot of the tech companies that are out there, they've embraced this and they've seen this. They have these coaches such as yourself and mentors that are coaching these larger companies saying, you've got to have camaraderie. You've got to have rapport. You've got to have this within your team because you got all these smart people working for you, but you're not harnessing them to grow them. You're just putting them to work.
Well, yeah, trying to grow interpersonal skills is much more challenging than trying to teach somebody, software engineering skills.
Sure.
Yeah, one of the things that I always love that Richard Branson said is that the reason I'm so successful is I hire people who are smarter than me, and then he builds that environment around them.
Right. Yeah, so people like Richard Branson in the leadership field, we would refer to that level of leadership as catalyst level leadership. And companies who employ and develop leaders into that facilitated style of leadership tend to be more successful.
Well, and I think in today's world, like you said, the millennials have grown up in what I call the microwave generation, right? They everything's instant. Like I know 4-year-olds that can work my iPad better than me, right?
Oh, my 3-year-old, when she gets a hold of it for a 10-minute session, she's in there. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so even younger, Jane says, right? So, so I mean, they which I think is a big part of that interpersonal connection to society and people and communicating with people where the difficulty. And going back to what our whole main topic around is communication is so much more critical in today's world, and being able to communicate and really know what do you want. Like you said earlier in the show, you said we survey in marketing. Well, you should be surveying your clients.
Yeah, you should be touching base, getting a pulse.
Yeah.
One thing that I always look at is if I see something going wrong with an employee, I have this inspect what I expect type atmosphere that I go into. I want to inspect what's going on to see how I can help them, because it's changed a lot. Like you used to be able to hire a baby boomer that just got in there. He could close his door and grind it out and never have to talk to him, no personal skills whatsoever, and the job was done. That has left.
Yeah, like I know, and Jane, you can talk to this too. I know we've had a couple conversations about this, but like I can never get my son to answer the phone, but I can get him to text or chat through Facebook.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And it just blows my mind, because I don't like to sit there and write. I want to be able to talk. That's the whole purpose of the phone. Right. But, I think for, managers and VPs and things like this is that we've got to figure a way to be able to communicate in a way that they understand. Don't try to put a round peg in a square hole. Right. Yeah. So what are, Jane?
You got to bridge that communication gap.
Yeah. What are some ways that folks can do that?
Well, when I'm working with clients, the first thing that I do is I try to surface that client's strengths, because everybody, we're talking in generalities here, but I know millennials who are amazing communicators and can express themselves. They have no trouble operating in teams and becoming individual contributors. So there are millennial role models out there. I don't want to sort of paint them all with this really broad brush. However, as a group, as we're talking generally, there are certain attributes that millennials have that actually go into composing this very high level, catalyst level leader. And some of those qualities are the fact that millennials navigate change effectively. They've had to, even better than their predecessors. They have, their world moves so fast. They're used to multitasking. They're used to handling a variety of different types of technology. They're early adopters. They're quick to jump on to the next new thing. They also see the world in a very broad sense. They see the world as interconnected, which is a huge advantage in a leadership role.
Absolutely.
Additionally, there's been enough success in technology, with millennials. We've all heard the stories of inventing the new app or the new product that all of a sudden, a 20-something-year-old is a multimillionaire. So they actually embrace the maverick mindset. And that's something that baby boomers don't do very well. As a matter of fact, in most organizations, traditional organizations with baby boom and Generation X leadership, mavericks tend to get kicked out. So, as we see millennials progress, I think we're going to see a lot more innovation because they embrace it.
Well, that's great. And Jane, we're going to go to a commercial break, but when we come back here on 105.5 FM in the Now, radio with Mike Driggers and Brandon Hintz, we're going to get back into this maverick mindset and catalyst leadership. That was some really good content that I want to dive into when we get back. So we'll see you after the break.
Have you ever heard the statement, mindset is everything? I believe this statement to be true. If you're ready to grow in your business or you're trying to change things in your life, mindset is key. I'm Brandon Hintz, and I've helped thousands of my clients set their mindset in the right direction to allow them to achieve their goals and to make changes in their lives. You can have what you want. Let's stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back with my help. Go to AskBrandonForFree.com. That's AskBrandonForFree.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-694-7394. 800-694-7394. That's 800-694-7394.
Hi, I'm attorney Eric Meyer of Meyer Law Offices, the host of Money 105.5's new show, The Wealth and Family Show. Every Thursday at 4 p.m., we'll talk about how to build and protect your wealth and family. In this complicated world we live in, be confident you have taken the steps to ensure everything you've worked hard for and what matters most, your family, are protected. Join the conversation every Thursday afternoon at 4. Straight talk and to the point. This is personal. This is family. This is the Wealth and Family Show.
I'm John Robert Quinn, host of The Good Life Show here on 105.5, and I want to welcome you as a guest on the show. Every weeknight at 10 p.m., we showcase a different local business, helping them reach a larger audience, helping them grow their business. After we record your show, we put it into standard rotation, airing that episode every 3 to 4 weeks indefinitely. Tune in weeknights to 105.5 at 10 p.m. for The Good Life with John Robert
Coming back.
And join us online at thegoodliferadioshow.com. See you soon.
Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5 app with Brandon Hintz and Mike Driggers in the Now.
Oh, I guess I jumped the gun on that one. Welcome back.
You went
He's just looking at me like, why are you talking already? We're even back from commercial.
You in dialogue and nobody heard but me.
Yeah, that's all right, though.
It was pretty good, though.
It's good communication, right?
Yes, I love it.
So welcome back, Jane.
Thank you.
So in here, some of the top 10 attributes that are most important for millennials and our listeners to hear right now. I'd like to cover some of those with you. I know you started off with surface strengths. They navigate change better. They're interconnected. They actually believe in this maverick mindset that one person can really go for this and hit the goals they need. But sometimes it's part of the group as well. So what are the top 10 attributes that are most important for millennials to achieve?
Well, the ability to learn from failure. And that's kind of a challenge for some millennials because of the parenting styles that most of them experienced, not being allowed to fail. And families, parents, teachers, schools, they really pushed this generation to achieve, which there's nothing wrong with achievement. However, allowing our children to fail is actually what builds certain qualities that we now know are so important, like resilience.
Yeah.
Additionally, as I mentioned before, managing change and understanding that our world is speeding up rapidly. The ability to take on multiple perspectives, meaning that, instead of somebody being right and somebody being wrong, the facilitative style of leadership wants experts in the room that understand various perspectives so that they can, work through and come up with a plan that really embraces a more global point of view. Also, perseverance through adversity. And that goes hand in hand with the idea of failure, that even though you have a failure or you make a mistake, you just pick yourself up and keep moving.
What's failure?
Yeah.
I call them stepping stones to success. So I don't know that definition, failure. I have to learn that one. Maybe I don't want to.
Yeah. And I always look at it, I mean, you're 100% right. And I try to tell my kids, they always say, like, what's the one thing? And I always say, fall down 7, stand up 8.
Yeah.
There's going to be times in your life where you run into these brick walls where it's okay to quit something and move on to the next one. And in the old fashion, that wasn't the right way to go. Like, your parents would have taught you, you've only got, I don't know how many times, like, mentors, like father figures or father-in-laws or mother-in-laws or uncles and aunts have come to you and go, you only got one shot at this.
Yeah.
No, actually I don't.
Yeah.
I've got as many shots as I'm willing to take a step forward.
Yeah. And so you left off, and sorry to interrupt, but I hate when folks...
perseverance.
Perseverance. When folks say failure, I don't look like you never fail, because it's a learning opportunity, and I just call them stepping stones to success. It's the next level.
Right.
It's meant to happen for you to get to where you need to go.
Yeah, one of my first courses I ever taught as a coach was Lessons Learned, and that was the title of the course.
Lessons
Learned.
Yeah.
And how to overcome them and change the mindset you need to have the perseverance you mentioned.
Yeah. So go ahead, Jane. You were talking, so perseverance. What's the next?
Oh, okay. So building strong relationships, of course, and being able to work well in teams. Actually advocating for other people's success. Because when people on a team, when each person's strength is identified and each person's contribution is appreciated, then the team works better. And actually, with training courses that I conducted when I was with Merck, we actually saw superior financial results by bringing in all of the talent to the room and leveraging it.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, welcoming the person who does think outside the box, who does have that unusual idea. And, for instance, one of the mission statements of Facebook is to move fast and break things, meaning that, yes, mistakes are welcome, and we expect you to innovate, even if it doesn't work. Basically, the one thing that millennials are accused of is not having a strong work ethic. And definitely a strong work ethic is important. However, I actually think that millennials have the right idea. What their older predecessors might call laziness is actually what they value is work-life balance. And we know from all kinds of research and the way that companies are run, especially in different countries in Europe, we have seen the fact that people are actually more productive when they take vacation, when they play.
They have naps during the day.
There you go. Massages.
But they'll work. Some of them, they'll take a break in the day and sleep for an hour or two, but they'll work 8 or 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night,
Yeah,
right.
And I look at this.
A lot of these technology campuses have caught on to that. And they've set it up so you just never have to leave if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when I was over in China and I was doing an event, I was speaking over there, one of the things that they started doing is they were building these buildings where corporations were in the middle, and then they put these apartments on the outside of the corporation. So when you go to work, you just go out your door and then into the business, right? So they made these towers where the apartments were attached to the businesses, and people were coming in and going. They got their production higher. A lot of companies' productions were a lot higher.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's because you can cut down on your commute, which we all know is a huge challenge in the Bay Area.
Yeah, well, I think anywhere, L.A.
You go home for lunch every day, go home for a siesta.
Yeah.
So, you brought up this one point, which is working with the team and these strong relationships. I know that this is probably the most emphasized. A lot of folks have a hard time with this. Like, what could they do both on the millennial side and then also on the business side to strengthen that relationship and work in a team environment?
Well, I mean, part of the problem is American culture that has this very drive mentality of competition. And, having worked for a number of corporations throughout my career, I saw that culture alive and well. The problem is when you pit people against each other, it's a little tough then to turn around and get them to work as a team and cooperate. So we have to, there's a lot of sports metaphors still being used, in corporate meetings. And, really to be a team involves valuing each member of that team and really ferreting out, well, what is this person's individual strength? We have this project to accomplish, and who are the players that can most contribute to this project? So, there might be a project leader on one work project, and then maybe that person takes a secondary role the next time around. So, and millennials actually value a more peer-to-peer relationship with superiors. They don't like the authoritarian tops-down approach because they really feel that, having experienced that throughout their education, that mode of trust has sort of been betrayed. What they were told is if they did well in school, they performed, they got straight A's, they beat out all the competitors for the top spot in an Ivy League school, their futures would be secure. But that didn't happen. And so,
that whole world changed.
The whole world changed overnight. And many of them had to drop out of school. Their parents lost jobs. They lost homes. So they don't quite trust sort of the larger power structure. And they do understand that collaboration is important, but they were never given the practice to do that quite as much. Even in team sports and school, now that we're bringing on professional coaches and, we've kind of eliminated the opportunity for young people to take leadership roles in their own sports teams. They used to be in charge of selling tickets and of mentoring younger players and of, coming up with game strategy. That's not happening anymore because things have gotten that competitive and people are vying for, a certain amount of sports scholarships. So, there's a huge disconnect. And millennials really, it's something they need to work on together as a generation, and it's something that needs to be identified within organizations that millennials do need help with.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the key thing is that we've got to start understanding the generation on both sides.
Yeah, and the one thing that I love about this new generation, I really believe they're going to be the most successful generation, is the work-life balance. There's so many of us right now at our age going back trying to figure that out.
Sure.
Me being one of them, going back and going, life is more important than work. Work is not my life.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching that, and I've learned my own foundation, right? So these guys got it figured out earlier, and we have to adapt to that.
Yeah.
So, Jane, how does everybody get a hold of you to research you a little deeper?
Well, they can go to my website, which is, JanessaLeadership.com. They can also email me at jane@janessaleads.com. So that would be the best way to get a hold of me and to look at other information.
And you have a book coming out called Mentorship on the Go, the spring of 2018.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep, and I've seen previews of it. It's pretty powerful. It's a great book.
Yeah, and Jane, I mean, today was a great time on the show, but the communication that you're talking about and just the real things that we're looking at are key to today's topic of communication. So thank you for being on our show today.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon, but thank you again for being on here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, you have a good day.
We'll be back on In the Now with Mike Driggers and Brandon Hintz, 105.5 FM.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or how about the one that says, mindset is everything? I truly believe both these statements. If you're looking to grow in your life or your business, then something's got to change. Stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Hi, I'm Brandon Hintz, and I've helped thousands of my clients do just that. Stop being controlled by limiting beliefs and patterns that don't suit you anymore. Join me at AskBrandonForFree.com. That's AskBrandonForFree.com.
Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5 app with Brandon Hintz and Mike Driggers in the now.
Woo! Are we back on?
Wait.
Hello?
Are we communicating with the world?
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right? I love that commercial. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
That thing is literally, that's probably been a decade old, right?
Yeah.
He's not even with that company anymore.
No, he went to the competitor, right?
So, Jane really nailed it, and I'm a firm believer, and just for the record here, I truly believe the millennials are going to kick butt.
Oh, I
love the way that they're going about this. But they are ill-prepared in some areas.
Right.
Like, one of the key topics that she said is successful people.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a competition in the world. Yes, you need to hone your skills. You need to be good at what you do. But you need to show up and just be who you are.
Right.
And never, ever put somebody down for what they are.
Sure. The true competition is who's looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Right? Who do you see in that mirror? You need to compete with yourself and what your goals, your work-life balance is going to be. Don't worry about worry about what you're going to do, right? What are you going to do to help improve your life and work environment? And the one thing I got from her was that this teamwork and relationship, because I hear it on the news all the time. Oh, they don't communicate. And there's a book out by Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point. And it's a great book, and he talks about having the people in the right seat of the bus going in the right direction, all on the same bus, the right bus, right? And so I think that's going to be a critical part to a lot of success for organizations, and especially because, and I've wrote a new book that I have coming called Unleashing the Entrepreneur. You have more and more today solopreneurs, entrepreneur-minded millennials, and folks that are trying to figure out, they want to be entrepreneurs or solo, but they don't want to. They still want to work for a corporation. So companies have got to figure out how to communicate with those and how to reward them in today's. And you can see a lot of success from like Apple, Facebook, 3M, all these companies that have embraced this millennial mindset of solopreneur and entrepreneur. And we'll have a topic about that one day. But I think that's probably the biggest thing I got, was that the communication is important and building that relationship with millennials.
It is on every level. If you're in your business and something's wrong, you've got to stop for a second and communicate. No matter what your mindset is at, if you don't want to talk about the subject, you probably need to. Mm-hmm. If you want to avoid that employee, you should probably
There's
go
a
over
reason,
and talk
right?
to them.
Yeah,
even if it just says, hey, can I get you a cup of coffee at the end of the day? Can we just have a human-to-human conversation? You'll fix so many more problems. Just on the way to work this morning, I called one of my business partners and said, hey, yesterday's meeting, I felt this way. And I wanted to address that with you. And he literally went into, I apologize. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. And we communicated for a moment. And right off the bat, I made a joke. I said, man, it sounds like you've had some serious marriage counseling the way you responded so fast. And he started laughing like, well, I just know that if I meant you felt that way, my communication was wrong because that was not my intention.
Sure.
But yet I went to bed last night kind of upset about the conversation. And then this morning it was healed in 13 seconds.
13
seconds. I looked
seconds.
at the phone call. I'm like, that was a 13-second call.
So now what if you didn't? And it goes on for a whole week.
I would have stewed all day about it.
Oh, absolutely. And so what happens? What you think, you project, right? So then your environment gets corrupted and dirty because you're thinking this way.
Yeah, you're allowing this. You're not living in the now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're living in the past conversation, and you're thinking about what could happen going forward. And you can't live in the now if you're in those modes.
And the problem is the person on the other hand, they had no idea.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
That's what I say when you go to work one day and you're mad at the top salesman and he's over there producing, getting paychecks, and you're mad at him. No, take him to lunch.
Yeah, go
Stop
learn
for a moment and say, hey, I want to buy your lunch today. Give me 2 good tips.
Yeah.
Take a moment to embrace the successful people around you.
Well, And
the ability to learn from your failures was huge. I mean, that's one thing that I see in all my clients is that they keep thinking of these failures as a holding point that's pivoted them in the sand.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
kept
can't
them
move.
back.
My leg is stuck. I can't move forward. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just a stone to step on, and now let's go we learn from it. Let's go do what we need to do to go to the next level, right?
Yeah, in our Design It course, we talk about this probably in a full hour session about walls that you run into and doors that you can't seem to open.
Yep.
But yet when someone just says, hey, did you know that the lock was right here? Just turn it to the left, it unlocks the door, move the handle down, and the door opens. So Bruce Lee always said it best, be like water. Just flow.
Flow.
If that rock hits, the water doesn't stop. It goes around the rock.
It goes over, it goes under, it'll carry the rock and then move on its way, right?
Yeah, it just
finds a way.
Nothing stops water.
Yeah.
Even if a dam is built, if enough water comes, it will go over the top.
Yep.
So you've got to be more like water and roll with the punches. These catalysts to level leaderships, these hardcore catalyst level leaderships that she was talking about, the navigate to change for the better. These kids are used to things changing on them over and over and over again, to where when our fathers were growing up, there was one routine, right?
Right.
And I always talk about Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's talking about the work ethic that he has and earn what you get. I 100% believe in him, but I don't think the guy sleeps.
Yeah.
Does he have a personal life? I don't even know because he's working so much.
Right.
That old school mentality is driving people there, but the newer millennials know that there is a balance there.
It has to be.
If you're filled up, you're better at where you are.
Yeah, there's a whole chart out there called the balance wheel and I can't remember who invented it, but it talks about all the elements in your life and you rate it from 1 to 10 and where you're at. And the thing is if you're all one side, that means you have a flat tire.
Yeah.
So think of it, you're driving a car with a flat tire. And it's chicka-gun, right? And so you've got to create this balance so that the wheel is in perfect harmony, and that means your life in perfect harmony. And so, dealing with critical issues and things, and look, things are going to happen in life. If you can't control it, don't stress on it. Control what you can. Let the water that hits a duck's back, it just rolls off.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you have to do, and I think that was a pretty powerful message for today, for sure.
Yeah, and for our listeners, it's just take a stop for a moment. If there's something in your business that's not working right for you, you have the right to change it.
Yeah.
You have the right to stop for a moment and go, I'd like something different.
Mm-hmm.
And how will I achieve that? It might just be that one conversation with one of your managers, that one conversation with your employee. So take a step back. The same thing in your relationships. If you're looking for this work-life balance, you have to be able to address the other person and say, hey, this isn't working for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens for your mindset. You see all these entrepreneurs and all these successful people now saying, if you actually put as much time into your mindset as you did your education, things might change more rapidly for you.
Absolutely.
I know that in the last 5 years, I've gone through rapid change in my mindset, just knowing that I needed to grow somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I know I want this experience, and these are the things that have to change for me to get there. And yes, you run into things that seem hard, but then you ask somebody for help and they change it, and it's not hard anymore.
Right. They speed up the process,
yeah.
Eliminate pain and create pleasure all in one.
Yeah, that's exactly why we always say get mentorship.
Yeah.
And as far as communication goes, I mean, I just want to step out and say, you guys, from Facebook to the radio station to the people calling me, sending me emails, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being there. Thank you for communicating. Some of these topics are coming right from the feed lines that you put in there. Because why? You say you want something, we're going to provide it. So thank you guys for all being there on our show, coming into the Facebook, social media, just the posts that have been coming out there. It's been amazing.
The live stream, all that, the folks that jump on there. And, hey, Brandon, we got an event coming up.
Yeah.
We should be giving away some tickets.
Yeah, so if you're on our social media posts or if you want to call our office or send us an email, we're giving away 10 tickets to our Design It course in February, right here at the Hilton off of Highway 50. It's a 3-day course. We're giving away a $3,000 ticket to you and a guest. So that's $6,000 worth of tickets to 2 people, and we have 10 sets of them.
Yes. So we want to hear from you. We want you to reach out to us, whether it's, go to the Now Academy or go to askbrandonnow.com. Go to our the Facebook Now Academy. Right.
So this is what we want from you. Why would the course help you?
Yeah.
Post it on there. This course could help me. You can go on the Now Academy, look at our course, go through it. What we're basically teaching you is the same thing that we're talking about now, communication. Design your business to gain your life. If you're looking for that work-life balance in your life, if you're looking to figure out how to communicate better with your employees, time management, how to build your sales funnels, how to actually launch your company, how to build your product line.
How to systematize your overall business, right? Yeah. So you're working on your business, not in your business.
Because if your business is systematized, then work-life balance comes easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
If things are planned ahead of time, like just the other day I was listening to this person said that they live by their calendar each day. I have to know my calendar for the month.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be successful, I got to be seeing the foresight of what the month entails.
Well, most people, even in their marketing, which is what we teach, is that you've got to create a 12-month marketing plan. And everything you do for this month is for the next 6 weeks when it launches, right? So you don't wait until next week's campaign, right? So everything we do at the course, we're teaching folks, one, how to get a better quality of life and systemize, but in that process, we're going to make your life easier to make the type of money that you want, and where it's enjoyable and fun, and where you love doing what you're doing. You may have kind of started your business and then lost that passion.
Every one of our listeners is successful right now, but if you're looking to go to that next level, if you're looking to just get something to break loose in this, design it for you. So go to thenowacademy.com or one of our social media postings, call into our office at 916-945-2047 and just tell us why this course would suit you. And we're looking to give away 10 tickets.
What were those dates? February.
I want to say 10th, 11th,
10th, 11th, and 12th. Yeah,
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but it's all on the website. So take a look at it. Really, what we're trying to do is help as many people as possible just get what they want. And this show is exactly that. Today's little snidbits is a lot of us were sitting there thinking we have this problem with one of our employees or one of our significant others or even our children.
Or business partners, right? I mean, I think there's some gold nuggets that came out of the show, and I hope you take advantage of them and get out there and share, don't wait.
Take action.
Take action. Be in the now. And go and talk to those people that you may have you need to resolve whatever issue it is and start communicating better. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and end out the show. We really appreciate you and our audience and our producer, Sean. Thank you so much for helping us out. And my name's Mike Driggers, and we have my good friend,
Brandon Hintz,
on In the Now with 105.5 FM. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.